What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. We have a big topic today, guys. It, we have a difficult topic to talk about because I'm going to tell you, I dove in, I watched the film. I couldn't believe what my eyes were telling me I was seeing. And mind you, I've been watching the game and everything, but I mean, I actually dove into the film last night and I was just shocked. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit here and try to placate people and tell them that Carson Wentz had a good game. He objectively had a so-so game, ups and downs throughout the entire game. I agree with those people out there who are saying, I got some people that we have disagreements in the comments. We might not see everything the same way, but generally speaking, most of us kind of come to a rationalization of Carson Wentz is a good quarterback who needs to play better in certain situations in order to get us out of this crazy ass rut we're in. I'm on board with that. You can't sit there and say that Carson's having an excellent season. I thought Carson had stretches of games this season where he was playing at an elite level, but what happened on Sunday against the Patriots, what happened in Dallas, that shit wasn't elite. That shit was downright pitiful. But I'm going to tell you, I watched the film and I watched what these wide receivers and this offensive line was doing, and I was pissed off. I watched what Doug Peterson was doing. I was beyond pissed off. I'm here to tell you, this coaching staff, this play calling, this offensive line, and these damn receivers have got to go. When things look as bad as I thought they looked on film, I go and start consulting other people. We live in a great sports market in Philadelphia, guys. We have been one of the most privileged fan bases in terms of coverage of sports teams, the commentators we get to see, the analysts that come out of this. And I'm not even talking about the guys that you guys know, like Jaworski and Brian Baldinger, although I'm going to go to Brian today, and all these other guys, Mayock, all these other guys who came out of the Philadelphia area. Greg Cosell's that are, coming out of this Philadelphia market. There's the Ray Didingers, right? There's the Frank Rubens. There's just a lot that we are made privileged to watch, observe, and hear. Okay. I'm talking about just the general sense of it. I mean, this is a huge media town where we may not have the media size that a place like New York has, but we're better at it, way better. And I went and consulted Brian Baldinger. I watched his little thing, his little segment, and I got to tell you guys, I can't believe what the hell. He saw the same thing I saw, but he even pointed out things that I didn't see at first. And I was like, holy shit. Guys, we are in a catastrophic event with these wide receivers. Drastic changes have to happen. And that's what we're talking about today. The drastic changes that are going to need to occur.
But this is a horrible, I mean, this is a switch route. Everybody runs it. But you can't run this any worse than this.
All right, guys. If you don't know what a switch route is, if you didn't really play offensive end, if you didn't play, like a split end position or a flank or anything like that, or, a slot in football, in high school, college, whatever. Simply put, guys, it's a route combination to where, in essence, you're trying to run a legal pick of some sort, and you're giving the defense a little confusion. Generally speaking, you have a bang-bang play that can be made at the sticks, which is what Carson was looking for. He was looking for Goddard at the sticks. Or you have kind of a go route that essentially you got this guy coming. I'll do it this way because it's vice versa, guys, from the way you guys are seeing it. But you got this guy kind of coming in, right at the sticks. So he's coming in right at the sticks. And you got this guy going up and around him, setting a pick. And he's running out on basically a flat route or a go route, okay? If you want to see an example of this route working really well and this route beating a common opponent we're going to face for a second time, watch how the Jets run this against a team like Dallas. Same exact kind of route design.
They do it professionally. 3rd and 4. Darnold lost.
Did you see it? If you didn't, don't worry. I'm going to show it to you one more time. This time, look at the offensive left. Okay, look at your offensive left, defensive right, offensive left. Look at your 3 wide receivers. You got a split end that's the furthest one away from the quarterback. You got number 84, which is their tight end, which was in the middle. And you have number 82, which is Jamison Crowder, who's their slot receiver. Watch how number 84 sets a legal pick, essentially, for number 82, okay? That's that switch route, guys. That's the way this route is supposed to work. Watch it a second time.
They do it professionally. 3rd and 4. Darnold Law.
Guys, that's the way offenses are supposed to function. That's not a very good football team in New York. That was a guy who interviewed for the job here in Philly, by the way, in Gase. You see his offense. You see how that worked. I'm not saying Gase over Peterson. That's not what I'm saying, guys. I'm saying that the offensive coaching staff and the position coaches in New York are clearly doing a hell of a better job than what's going on here in Philadelphia. Because for us not to be able to run a switch route is downright insulting. Guys, I'm 36. I haven't suited up in a football uniform since 19 years. I can run that. That shit is pathetic. It's pathetic. It's inexcusable. And there are people out there, I'm not even kidding you, there are literally big YouTubers out there, people I respect, who are literally trying to tell you to trade Zach Ertz and hand the rings over to Goddard to gain more pieces. Hell to the no. Goddard ain't ready for that. I'm going to be real with you. If we didn't have film on Goddard from the year prior, if we didn't have this film to see that Goddard can be a crackback, blocker, when he's coached correctly, he can make plays in the passing game. He's never going to be Zach Ertz a level of a receiver, guys. Get that shit out of your head right now. He's not that. But he's a decent receiving tight end. And he's a hell of a blocking tight end when he wants to actually block. And that's going to get called into question later in this video. But I'm going to run the film and I'm going to show you again what he did. I'm telling you, if this was his rookie season and he was pulling this shit, now mind you, I'm not taking away what he did last year because he proved he can play last year. But if this year was the only film we had on Dallas Goedert, I'd be doubting if he can maintain himself on this roster, to be quite honest.
Can Dallas Goedert, can he give it away any easier what they're doing right here? This is not a route. Who's coaching these wide receivers?
That's the main point I want to make here is what Brian Baldinger said at the very end of that clip, guys. What are these position coaches teaching these guys during practice? It's a fair question. Last week, we heard reports that not only did they have Carson Walsh over there working extra hard with the receivers, but Peterson himself went over there and Grow. You spent that kind of detail and that kind of effort on one position, and that's the product you threw out on the damn football field. I'm sorry, but if you, well, wait a minute, that was me. If you or I had that type of job performance, I can guarantee you on Friday, we'd probably be called into the office and handed a little pink slip that said, thank you for your time with the company. It's inexcusable, guys. At this point, I'm sorry. Drastic shakeups have got to happen with this coaching staff. I still will tell you guys that I'm not too sure how much Mike Groh is at fault for the play calling because he only really calls a 2-minute offense. I'm not too sure that I buy that he's responsible for the play design because let's be real, Doug Peterson kind of monopolizes that type of thing. He kind of takes pride on that stuff. But I will say this. I've been saying it. I don't think Doug Peterson respects Mike Groh enough to take his advice. So why is he there? If you don't respect him enough to take his advice the way you did Frank Reich, then why do you have him there? And I think that E-Rock and the guys, at 4th and John kind of said it pretty well, which what they said is we need fresh eyes on the situation. We need fresh eyes, someone from outside the organization to come in as the OC and these position coaches. We got to quit doing this internal promotion thing. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I wouldn't go as far as saying firing Deuce Staley, but some of you guys who think that Deuce Staley is doing objectively a good job this season, no, he's not. He's not. I'm sorry. He has made shitty decisions this season. The only thing I think has saved Deuce Staley's job is that even though he's been hard-headed and he hasn't done the greatest at designing running plays at times and getting all that together, and especially with I won't say designing running plays. It's not really on Deuce Staley. It's Jeff Stoutland's domain. But Deuce Staley does make the personnel selection. And as stubborn as he's been at times with the personnel selections, he did eventually get his shit together, and he did put Jordan Howard as the featured back. he did use Miles Sanders in the right way, and his blind faith in Miles Sanders helped the kid develop into something that looks like it's going to be special down the road. So to me, that's a saving grace to do Staley's job. But I'm telling you, Carson Walch, I'd get rid of him. I would fire his ass. Press Taylor. Bye. Look, the reason Press Taylor is here in this position is he's credited with going out there and identifying and finding the Philly special play. That's not enough. That's not enough. That's living in the past. You want to jump on Dallas Cowboys for living in the past, and I get the irony of Cowboy fans talking about that they are this great organization, which historically they are. They've won multiple Super Bowls in the 70s and the 90s, but they haven't won shit since most of their fan base has been alive. I get the irony of that statement, but guys, we're doing the same thing when we keep internally promoting people from that 2017 coaching staff who aren't making a difference. How did you gain the Super Bowl in 2017? By taking risk, by getting outside eyes, by having solid coaches behind you. We had this young creative dude in Doug Peterson who had an experienced guy who's been a head coach before on the defensive side, and Jim Schwartz, who was grooming him, and an experienced offensive coordinator who's called plays before in Frank Reich as his OC, helping him and guide him with play calling, with play design, and stuff like that. You know what? I think that you don't need the same amount of respectability from the coaches. I don't think you need a Frank Reich per se, but at the same time, you do need somebody who has fresh eyes, someone who can be innovative and can help Doug Peterson out. Because I do think that Doug at this point should have an idea and a grasp of calling plays and designing plays at this point. He showed the ability to do that. But there's a problem with this coaching staff, guys. It's unavoidable.
Up in a six-man front. Adam Butler is the only defensive lineman on the field. They're playing.
I don't even know what to say about this play, guys. It is just downright pathetic. One defensive lineman, a whole shit ton of linebackers, and we can't get push? What the hell, man?
Like, would you just come off the football and knock him into the dirt?
Guys, we are in 12-man personnel with Dallas Goedert, who's supposed to be one of the better blocking tight ends in the league, especially one of the better crack back blockers, against a front that is mostly linebackers, and we can't get push. Let that sink in before you blame Carson Wentz about how bad everything around Wentz was in this game.
This isn't football, Dallas Goedert. You're better than this. You can't just roll on the ground and chase Winovich.
All right. I want to get to Carson Wentz in this game for a minute because there's a lot going on to his performance. And I don't know where some of y'all stand with Carson Wentz, but I'm going to tell you this. I think Carson Wentz is a quarterback that has all the tools to be very successful in this league, and he has elite level talent. He does things other quarterbacks can't do, but he's not without fault, guys. This is why I said he had kind of a so-so up and down performance. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even think at this point, after really diving into the film, if someone says, look, that was just a bad game, it's kind of hard to defend him on it because in ways it was a bad game. There's a lot to his performance, okay? Offensive line getting its ass beat at times, okay? Lack of timing with all these new weapons being added into the lineup and calling them weapons as being very polite. Because let's be honest, Hollins wasn't getting separation, except for in this one. This is a mistake on Wentz's part. You know, you got Matthews really wasn't getting separation in this game. You had Boston Scott in there for the first time. So there was a lot of moving pieces. Guys he hasn't worked with at all this season. The chemistry was off. Timing was off. People aren't separating, so he's holding the ball. Offensive line is getting beat. That contributed to the overall play of Wentz. But I'm here to tell you guys, you got to be honest when you see things on film. He missed a golden opportunity here. And I know that Matt Collins doesn't give him a lot of opportunities. I know that other quarterbacks miss these throws every game. And that comes down to the burden of this offense on Carson Wentz, that he doesn't have the luxury of missing these type of passes because of how shitty we're playing. He has to hit these. We can't have these type of mistakes because we don't know when the next opportunity is going to come because of how bad we're playing.
It's going to be a good move, and he's going to get open. So let's just watch him right here.
All right. Basically what they do to start this route, guys, is they take basically Hollins, who's kind of split out, and they motion him into a stacked kind of formation. The reason they're doing that, guys, is they're checking coverage. This is a pre-read. This is a pre-read on Carson Wentz's part, right? You motion a guy, you kind of see if they're in man-to-man. Now you're getting a pre-read of what's going on here.
Great protection. Look at that pocket. I mean, you can't draw up a pocket any better than that.
Okay, so basically what Brian Baldinger is pointing out is that, listen, he had clean protection there. He wasn't hurried. There wasn't, there's no reason for this overthrow in that basis of having a defender in your face. There's nothing like that going on here. Very clean pocket. And listen, these opportunities were really few and far in between once Lane Johnson went down. So when you were able to get these type of opportunities, either with Lane Johnson in a game or after he goes down in the game, you got to capitalize, especially on a defense that does not allow a lot of spacing. They're very good at covering. So the coaching staff on the play I tried to show you before tried to create separation by basically setting a legal pick for the players. Good coaching design, horrible coaching in general to where the players can't run it. And then in this one, this is more so, okay, let's see the coverage, and let's trust our quarterback, and let's trust our receiver. You got Hollins, he's got speed, guys. Mike Hollins can beat people. And if you got Devin McCourty on Hollins, it's a bit of a mismatch. Hollins has the height and speed on him. But, we don't get enough of these because he doesn't understand the route tree enough, and he doesn't understand where to line up enough. He's not good enough at understanding the playbook. However, golden opportunity here. I don't know if Wentz just was like, holy shit, someone's actually open. What happened? The bottom line is, guys, no matter if you're a huge supporter of Wentz, if you're a Folesian Society member, wherever you fall in the spectrum, look, when it's on film, it's black and white. You can't argue. He misses the throw.
Now let's watch the move here by Mac Hollins. Out, up.
If I could be honest for a second, like I said, I think Mac Hollins struggles to understand the route tree. I think he struggles to understand where he's supposed to be lined up. I think that this coaching staff has made grave errors to where they're not cross-training these guys and they don't have great understandings if they're not a starter on how the playbook works. But however, in this particular play, one must give him credit for not only running the correct route tree, not only lining up correctly, not only giving Carson Wentz the opportunity to see the pre-read, but I'm going to be real with you. I thought his route development and the fake was pretty good here.
Now, he's got real estate. He's got separation. He's got his man beat.
I thought that Wentz had a very so-so game, guys. I thought it was very up and down in his performance. I thought there were times where he did things creative. I think there are times where we're blaming him for things that are not his fault. You can't sit there and say, why is he holding the ball so long when people aren't getting separation? In an ideal world, you would like Wentz to, hey, if we're in a 7-point game, like, look, throw it away, tuck it and run, hit a check down, whatever. I get it. However, when we're not moving the ball, and this is becoming a systemic issue of separation and the offense stalling, not having Jordan Howard in there, not having a running game to support what's going on, offensive line not blocking.
Yeah, going to 240 there. That was smart. Wentz still has it.
Guys, this is a tough ask that you're asking this kid. It's not as easy as just saying, throw it away, tuck it and run. Like, the coaching staff has to do more to help them. They need to build in rollouts into the playbook, okay? They should have been hitting more RPOs in this offense. They should never have abandoned the screens. And even though we were failing to run the ball, you still got to keep trying to plug away at it. Because if you don't, then you put Carson Wentz in these situations where he's going to be holding the ball because the pressure keeps mounting on Carson Wentz to sustain a drive and keep the defense off of the field. So that way this game doesn't start to get out of control and doesn't slip away from being able to be won. That's the issue at hand here, guys.
Until they need you to be great. 3rd and 15. He's in trouble.
This offensive line was pathetic in this game, guys. If you want to talk about why New England won it, because I'll be honest with you, there was no way in hell New England was going to score a touchdown without that trick play. It was never going to win. It was never going to score like that. However, they won at the line of scrimmage. When you win the line of scrimmage, you generally win football games, even shitty games like this one. That was the issue. We've got to be better. And to Jeff Stoutland's credit, he did wake up this week and say, I'm taking my 5 best players and putting them out there. I'm going to take Andrew Dillard and put his ass at right tackle if Lane Johnson can't go. I'd rather have Andre Dillard at right tackle than to have to sit there and worry about Vaitai. And I think Vaitai is a viable backup player, but I do agree with the concept of put your 5 best players out there and let's pass protect.
To get people, because right now in this game he hasn't done that very much. Pass.
When I talk about an up and down performance, guys, this is what I'm alluding to. If you look at that pass right there, that's a very good pass by an NFL quarterback. The most obvious one to show you would have been the play in the back of the end zone. There were 2. There was one where he threw one and it just Nelson Agholor ran out of bounds to go catch it instead of doing what you're supposed to do as a receiver, which was a very good throw on Wentz's part. And then there was the other one in the end zone to, once again, going to Agholor to where Agholor could not hold in on an all-out blitz with pressure right in Wentz's face, and he throws an absolutely great pass given the situation. Up and down. Like, there's also this pass I just showed you there, which was a nice kind of back shoulder to Matthews, giving him a chance to make a play on the ball, but we just couldn't make plays. The question I have is why we have not sought out the talent on our practice squad. We got guys down on the practice squad who can play. You got a guy in Robert Davis who's 6'3" and runs a damn 4.44, 4.45. If you're struggling to get separation, if you are struggling at the Z position with players like Mac Hollins and Jordan Matthews, then you bring Robert Davis up. How hard is this? One move that probably needs to be made, and I don't understand why it hasn't been made, is Agholor either needs to be cut or released bottom line. You need to cut. Well, it's the same thing. He needs to be released, cut. Or, at worst, you got to bench his ass. And you need to bring up, at minimum, Greg Ward, who showed us he can play in the preseason. What are these guys going to do that is so horrible that isn't already being done on the football field? At least Greg Ward, while he's not the same level of speed as Agholor, he runs a 4.49. We see that he's shifty. He can hit those routes. He can be explosive when he catches the ball. He's in and out of his breaks very quickly. Sometimes it's not the 40 speed that matters. It's the change of pace speed. And Greg Ward has that. He's a former quarterback, so you know he understands the damn route trees. If you don't want to go with Greg Ward and you still want to find a guy that you can maybe move inside, move outside on occasion, he doesn't really have the height. I wouldn't trust him on the outside too much, but Marcus Green, the kid we signed off Atlanta's team, he's a burner, man. He runs a 4.39. This kid is – these options give you speed. These options don't make us look like fools in the 12-man personnel package with no threat of the running game out there with Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, Jordan Matthews, Nelson Agholor. Like, the plays are developing so slowly, there's no separation, and Wentz is holding on to the ball looking like an asshole. It's got to change. It's got to change, guys. We literally ran out of 12-man personnel in this game like 68% of our plays. You want to know why Wentz was holding the ball? Because of the formation, the utilization of that formation, how we were using it. Without the threat of the run, you cannot do 12-man like that. It takes plays way too long to develop like that. Guys, this is all I got for y'all. I'm just going to ask you guys at this point to like, comment, and subscribe. My question of the day is, what do you think, guys? Me, I think you got to shake up the coaching staff. I think you got to shake up the players on this roster. Howie Roseman is the other part of this I'm not going to get into, but I understand you saying, look, this upcoming draft is rich on wide receivers. I don't want to trade around. I don't want to trade away a second-round pick to the Jets for Robbie Anderson. Me personally, he's 26 years old. He's got 4.3 speed. He's 6'3". We know he can play in this league. I would have done it because you don't know what you're getting in the second round is going to materialize into an NFL player. But I get the rationalization for you. I won't fight on that front. But when you don't put in waivers for Josh Gordon or Dante Moncrief, it looks bad. It looks really bad. If you put in a waiver and someone beat us, they beat us. That's not your fault. But you didn't do the things you needed to do. The only option we have left is to play off the practice team or go identify people off other teams' practice team, and bring those players in. You got to shake up this room. It's got to be shooken up. That's it, guys. This is a long video. I got to cut it off, man. Y'all know what time it is. EADLES. These are my thoughts, guys.